I want to thank every one of you for your prayer support all along, especially for Andrew's difficult time, for the whole family. It really, we as a family, me especially, really appreciate it, because Andrew was very, very strong. It's not because of his own strength, but because of the power of the Holy Spirit, but also because of the prayer support that comes from all of you and from people around the world. Because normally as a man, no one able to go through that. The reason why the first execution was in disaster because of that, because no man were able to stand in that situation. So the 8 of them was able to stand and facing that like very, very strong. It's not because once again their own strength or because they are strong people. No, not at all. They're just normal, ordinary people. But because once again the power of Holy Spirit strengthened them, and the prayer support that comes from all over the world. So once again, I want to thank every one of you, and I want to ask, don't stop praying for Indonesia. Don't stop praying for people in that sentence. Because as you know, Indonesia has already outbid another list of execution. So this is not right. This is not what God agenda or what He wanted to do. As you know that since the foundations of the world, that is not exist actually. But that death came into the world because of the sin. When Adam and Eve was fall into the sin. So that when it started. But even that, Father still sent Jesus to save us from death, eternal death. So death and killing and murder not in His God agenda. It's not God at all. So church needs to understand about this and come in agreement to abolish death penalty. So please keep on praying for people in Indonesia, especially those who are already in that sentence. As you know, Indonesia already out in another list. Proudly giving out another list of executions. So, but yeah, Andrew, life was very, even for me especially, when I met him for the first time. Because I read in the news and people were often thought that I met him and I changed his life. No, it's wrong, totally wrong. Because when I met him, he's already become man of God. He's already a leader in prisons. So when I met him, I worked together with him all along, together. So I met him because he wanted to start a prayer room. If you know about Menara Doa, prayer tower, that's what he wanted started in Kerobokan. He wanted to build a prayer room so people, the prisoner, could use that room to pray every hour. But he also understood that people need to know basic things about prayer. So that's why he asked his friend, which is my good friend, if someone could come and teach about basic things about prayer. So at that time, I still ministering, pastoring church in Singapore, Indonesian church in Singapore. So my good friend was a pilot, and he based in Singapore. So he asked me to if next year if I go back to Indonesia, I could go and visit him. So that's how it started. And we wanted to have a prayer team, movement in prisons. So it happened, and the prisons allowed me to teach for 4 days. From 9 to 4, that's the first time actually they allowed someone to teach 4 days in a row to the morning until 4 o'clock. And like Alan said, that his life is not easy. Like people maybe from outside thought that, oh, he's strong, or maybe like he was able to go through, but actually he had been through a very difficult time, ups and downs. But he learned through the day, through the years, to become a better and better person because his faith in Jesus. And one thing that he taught me a lot about is about forgiveness. He was able to once again to go through everything, such a difficult time, like even face like the prosecutor. You know, the prosecutor is the one who will order them to fire, like when the execution, to shoot them. It's the prosecutor who will do that. And the prosecutor is the one who gave him the death sentence. So he was able to face him face to face. I was there, we were there. And when we went to him and hugged him and said, Andrew, I'm sorry. And he said, it's okay. He was able to do that because Andrew had spent a lot of time with God. And he was able to understand about forgiveness. That Jesus taught him a lot about this. So I remember this one story that really, really helped me to understand why he was able to forgive the prosecutor or attorney general or even the president or Indonesian government. There was one time in prison, his close friend, considered as a close friend, they said that they lied about him. They said they want to kill him, like he want to kill him, like three of them, I forgot. Like they make a big fuss inside the prison, said, oh, Andrew planned to kill him, to kill them. So it's a big, like a really big thing in prison. So the guard decided to once again choose someone to put in isolation room, like to make them stop create problem or making noise. He had to choose someone to put into isolation room, or in Indonesia we call it cell tikus, which is 2 by 2 and everything inside there is very small. You're not allowed to go out at all. Visiting time is only 10 minutes, that's all. So at the end the guard went up to him and said that, well, I know that you didn't do it, but I still need someone to choose someone to put in that cell. So they decided to put him into isolation room. He was there like 3 or 4 months, I forgot. Locked there for 4 months, almost 4 months. So after 4 months, he came out from that cell, and people was like, what happened, Andrew? Are you okay? So what happened? And even my good friend asked him, so how do you feel? And he said, it was the best time in my life ever. And he said, well, what do you mean? You locked down like 24 hours, only 10 minutes can talk to people, you don't really eat good food. So for months, what happened? And he said, it was the best time in my life where I met Jesus. I was able to I was able to read through Bible, and he was able to finish and read again, and he was able to memorize most of the New Testament. He wrote it down on the wall, his favorite verse, anything, and he was able to pray for the person in next cell, even though they're yelling at each other. So and more than that, before he left that isolation room, God told him that you need to forgive those people, that people. You need to go to them and say that I forgive you. So what he did is he went to that person one by one and he said, I forgive you. I forgive you. I forgive you. So most of them couldn't believe. Even one of them, when I was there, after teaching them, came up to me and said that, pastors, I couldn't believe. I lied in court, but I couldn't believe he forgave me. He forgave me. I couldn't believe he forgave me. He said he forgave me, but I couldn't believe he forgave me. He got mental. So those people who could not believe that he forgave them, and they couldn't forgive themselves for what they do to him, they all go mental, like mental problem until now. So, but the other side, Andrew was able to live in that hell, I could say that hell, like really enjoy that his daily life every day more than people outside prison could ever enjoy his life. Every day he was able to reach out to people in prison. Almost every month he baptized people, praying for healing, counsel people inside and outside prison. So I was remember there's one young boy. He was one actor in Australia, and he was get involved in drugs when he was 14, and now he's 18 or 19, I forgot. And he was his parents, his mom thought that, okay, he's going to die in one state because it's very bad. So her mom, I don't know how they got connected, her mom managed to contact Andrew. So Andrew was able to talk and encourage his mom about his son, and also talk to his son. So from that day, me and him start to pray for this young boy almost every day. Every day, pray every day. And until to the point, 2 days before they moved him to Nusa Kambangan, this young boy, Felix, called him and said, I'm clean almost a month. I already clean for 1 month. And not only that, he was at boarding school. He only allowed to make one phone call once a week. And he used that to call Andrew every week. So Andrew was very happy when he found out that Felix already clean and very strong. So he told me about that. When I met him, he said, oh, Felix is good and everything. So it was like amazing. It's a miracle. And not only that, but every day he really used his life wisely. Like the moment he woke up, people already wait in front of his cell because want to talk to him, want to ask him money, want to ask him to pray for them, whatever. So he had to ask the guard, actually, to lock his room again with his own lock, which is he holds a key. Because if not that people, if he's still sleeping or he's still praying, people just go in and talk to him, like very annoyed for him. So the guard will unlock him about 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning. And when they unlock him, they will change the lock with his own lock. He bought a new lock, and he was the key. Because if not, then people will come, like ask for 10,000, ask to pray for them, and it's too early in the morning. He needs time with God alone, and he couldn't get. So it's like, okay, can you please? So every time they unlock, they will lock him again because he has the key. So that's what he used his life every day, helping people, praying for people, become encouraged almost every day. Not only inside the prison, but people from outside prison came and looked for him and talked to him. At first, they thought they wanted to encourage him, but at the end, they found themselves encouraged by him because he was very he was able to enjoy his life no matter what. But I realized that God teach him, set him aside to teach him about certain things, which is forgiveness. And actually, it was like a power for him to be able to go through the next 10 years, his difficult time. Whatever problem that comes, whatever difficult times come, people said bad things about him. He was able to forgive them, and then, okay, enjoy my life. Okay, enjoy my life. And also, about the last day, when we decide to get married, people ask me a lot of questions. Why you want to get married? Why you want to marry? Why you know that he was in that sentence and you still want to marry him? I told them that it's very simple, because I just love him, that's all. When you love someone, you will do anything for him, and then it's not a problem. Even though it's just 1 minute or 1 hour you still have left, I still do it. But actually we want to get married before when he proposed in February. But things are become difficult, like the government say no, this one say no, that it's big problem. So we have to postpone and until on the 26th, the 25th, and he still asks me like, you still want to marry? So I say, oh yeah, of course. Okay, so let's do it tomorrow. So that's why we decided to get married on the 27th. And yeah, about 27 hours, the next 27 hours, then he was executed. The legacy that he left for me, it's about forgiveness. How you want to enjoy your life, how you want to have a good life. no matter where you are, no matter which stage where you are now, when you're able to forgive people who hurt you, when you're able to forgive those who done bad things in your life, in the past or right now, you are able to enjoy your life no matter what. And Andrew was able to have a very fruitful life for 10 years. He was able to save a lot of people from death to life. He was able to save people from drugs, really bad, addicted to drugs, very bad, and change them to become a better person. And I just read yesterday about one article about that. If you know Christy Buckingham is my new spiritual advisor that night, a lady, from Bayside Church. He wrote again about what happened at the last night, at that moment, at that time, the night of executions. And I wrote again. I was like, oh God, I mean, how do you know that someone really had a good faith, strong faith, good character? Because people often said, are they really repent? Is he really changed? Is he really that kind of man that we heard? He's good, he's strong, he really helped people, he's not using drugs. How do you know that someone, how do you know someone's true character? It's when they are at very bad situations, when they are at pressure, like really pressure, then their true character will come up. When you corner someone, then their true character will come up. So what Andrew showed me, that even to the last moment, he still had faith to Jesus. He still sing and praise God because he still had faith that even though to that moment God might save him, maybe the bullet will bounce back. Or even that he has faith beyond this natural realm, that maybe when we will pray for him, he will come back alive. So what Andrew showed me that I need to always have faith to God no matter what. And trust him no matter what. Forgive him no matter what. I know that forgive is hard because even me struggle a lot to forgive because of what happened in Indonesia. Like, if you know the real situations, if we have one whole day to tell the whole story about what happened with these people, you know that they are executed not because of their crime anymore, but some other reasons. It is pride. So it hurts the family and me a lot to know. So we people who know the truth, it hurt us a lot. And you can't imagine, you know that person is a good man, can save people, who had saved a lot of people, and they are executed just because of some leader's pride or whatever is that, not because of their crime anymore. So it's hard for me to be able to forgive and to understand, and especially to Indonesian government. But once again, I look at his life. If he able to forgive, they hurt him, not hurt me. But if he able to forgive, why should I hate Indonesia? Why should I hate Indonesia government? And I choose to forgive. So forgiveness is choose, decision. It's not about feelings. I still feel disappointed with Indonesian government, but every day I decide to forgive. So when you have bitterness towards someone, and you say, God, I decide to forgive that person. When you see that person and you still feel the pain, it doesn't mean you haven't forgiven. Because forgiveness is decisions. Forgiveness is you decide to forgive. It doesn't matter, you still feel the pain, but I choose to forgive. And it's a daily life thing. You have to say it, you have to do it every day, and the pain slowly gone. The wound slowly becomes, it heals slowly. So it's still hard for me and the family, and to be able to accept that, because we know exactly who he is for the last 10 years. He's a good man. And not only that, there's 8 people executed. 7, I can guarantee you, they are men of God. They are not some drug addict, drug user anymore. No. Like Rahim, the one that Alan said, 17 years in prison, in death sentence, and he totally repent. New person, new guy, nice guy. Okadili is a gospel singer. He is good for, he prayed for Indonesia like amazing. I was there, he created a song for Indonesia to bless Indonesia. Sylvester, pray for Indonesia. 7 godly men. I was praying and I said, God, what is going to happen with my country, Indonesia? They killed 7 godly men. And because I know the truth, because I know what Bible says, blood is still speak, and their blood is dropped in Indonesia, not in Australian country. It's in Indonesia land. So what is going to happen with my country? They killed 7 godly men. And once again, it's hard to understand. But if I see the harvest, and because of his life, at least it helps me to understand a little bit, even though I still have a lot of questions about why. But I'm thankful to God for his life. Like 10 years, short, but very fruitful life. And really, he was able to bless people with his life. Even though after he died, after he passed away, he was able to still bless people with his life. Maybe Anne, want to share something? Yeah?
Following with what Phoebe said, it's quite easy for you all to understand, I'm sure, what a privilege it is for me to have Andrew as an extra son and now Phoebe as an extra daughter-in-law, and what 2 beautiful, godly people. And it's such a privilege for me. I'm just in awe of both of them, and the way they carry themselves and speak God's message, and with only what Jesus would want them to say uppermost, and really putting their own feelings and their own hurts and pains aside for the opportunity for people who don't know Jesus to come to know him. And that was Andrew's heart, and that's Phoebe's heart. And 2 such beautiful people you wouldn't have the opportunity to meet again, I'm sure. Hopefully you do, we all do, but just 2 amazing people. And I could spend forever speaking about instances, as Phoebe said, about different people who have been touched by Andrew's life, and miracles, and people who Andrew has spent hours and hours counselling and helping to bring them to Jesus, or even physical healing, or to get them to doctors, or just his love for other people is just immense, and so is Phoebe's, and I'm really proud of them both.
Is that maybe, would like to ask anything? Anyone to ask something? No? Yeah.
What are your plans now? Obviously you're in Melbourne. How do you plan to go about continuing his legacy?
Well, I was based in Sydney because the Chance family in Sydney. Definitely we will continue. Like because before, like 2 years before, me and Andrew and another friend started a ministry in small island in Sabu, just for poor people, and because for educations and to help people to find their calling and use their time, especially young people, use their time wisely. Sabunese people, they're very smart, the legends, but they don't have any facility there. There's even certain area still have no electricity, and these people, young people, most of them have to walk very, very far to their school. Like they woke up. Some people woke up 3:30 to get ready to walk and go back again. So we can see their heart, how they really want to study, but they don't have any facilities. So what we want to do is to build like a community center there and provide like a English class for free, computer class for free, music class for free, Bible study, and also like a sports centers, simple sports centers there. So actually we were in the middle of doing that. I was at the island at that moment to socialize everything, speak to schools, governments, and churches there to work together with them. And I supposed to start my first class, simple English class for children in end of January, but early January we got the clemency rejected. So yeah, but definitely I will have to go back and continue that. But Andrew also want us, like Michael especially, to speak to schools in Australia about the danger of drugs. So Michael in the middle of as well doing that before the executions actually, and also continue the work in prison, especially in Kerobokan, because if you went to Kerobokan, if you ever went there before, you will see when you go in, you at the right side you will see the chapel. And if you go in at the back, go straight in, and then at the back side you will see a tennis court and the banker. So this facility, it's four of them: Andrew, Mayu, Tan, and Matthew. C. Andrew, Mayu, C, and Matthew. They the four of them who started this facility. Four of them, actually, they managed to rehabilitate a lot of people there. So they're the one who started the rehabilitation. They're successful to rehabilitate people. So actually, we want to use that pattern, that sample, to be able to use that for another prisons in Indonesia. Even that as well, that sample as well, even recorded that my video and give it to president that if you wanted to help Indonesia to go against drugs and corruptions, you have two best people who can help you actually, because for the last 10 years Andrew and Mayu stay away from drugs, managed to rehabilitate people, and refuse to bribe anyone in prison. So if you want to go and work with this drug problem, you have two best people who can help you, because they proved they're able to do that. And I told that to President that if so, Andrew wants us to continue that, and now it's Matthew. Matthew is still in prisons, one of the Bali 9. Matthew's still there. Matthew is the one who continue with the English service. English service in prisons, and also C, I keep saying Tan. C is helping with the banker, with the painting, computer class, and silver class. So they're still running there, but we will, I don't know how, but we will still continue the work in prisons, not only in Nusa Kambangan, not only in Kerobokan, but in another prisons in all over Indonesia. So this is three things that we will still focus continue to do that. Yeah. Any other question? Yeah.
Towards the last days, we little snippets of on TV, and the thing that was very comforting was to see Andrew so happy, getting married, and you can see the peace and the absolute joy and the courage, and it's really, really, it's really courage that is.
Andrew fasted for 5 weeks. He was there for 7 weeks. So the first 2 weeks he's not fasted, but when God started to spoke to him about the seed and everything, he started to fast for 5 weeks. Actually, for the 3rd week, I was there for lunch, and he was actually wanted to break fast, but he went back to his room and prayed and asked God, and God said, no, you have to continue. So he came out and said, oh, God said, I have to continue. So he continued until the day of execution. He's still fasting. Andrew was at his best condition ever. He lost like 9 kg. He was spiritually sharp. He was able to listen from God. He was able to identify God's works, what the flow, what God wanted him to do. He was emotionally, he was very strong, and spiritually, physically at his best ever. Even at his last day, he still do push up, press up 100 times. 1,000. 1,000. Oh, okay. Yeah. So he was physically, spiritually, mentally fit. So when this is what I imagine, when he went to see God, he was the best sacrifice ever. He was at his best. Even for the last, I mean, we will never see that before. He was very handsome. He was very sharp. He was very happy, strong. He was at his best. So at the wedding, maybe I should share a little bit story about the wedding. So this is the gate. This is the prison gate. Okay. There are three layers. So the first one, the second one, then the third one, the door. So Andrew's room is at this side after the second door. So he was never allowed to go into the third door, which is all the prisoners are there. So he only allowed this side, this small community. So when we come to visit him, we only allowed to sit at the small visit room, this area. So the chapel was at the back. So after the third door there. At the wedding day, we only allowed 10 people to go into the chapel. So at that time, the whole family that he wanted to be there for his wedding is there. So it was like, it's amazing. His mom, his brother, Ellen, and Miranda, and lawyers from both sides, Indonesians and Australian side, consulate, even the prosecutor is there. So they were there, 15 people inside the room, inside the chapel, and because not last minute, but because we try to keep it down from the media, even though it's still hard, because we need to ask permission from the prosecutor. The moment you tell the prosecutor, the next day, not the next day, you can't, only 2 hours, it's already out in the media. Even though we said, please don't tell anyone, don't tell the media, but and so we try not to get media attention. Actually, that's why we just casually wear everything. We don't bring anything. So in the prisons, in front of the prison, there is a bougainvillea. The flower bougainvillea, it's pink, very nice flower. So they took that. Miranda took that as my hand.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. And also put in his clothes there. And inside the prison, we're not allowed to wear any shoes because there's often people put drugs in the shoes. So we need to take off shoes, watches, belt, and everything. So me we get married without shoes. Yeah, and then yeah, it's pretty romantic. We just pretend that we're at the beach. Yeah. But I can see he's very happy. But to be honest, at that time, it's mixed feeling for me. My brain said different thing, my heart said different thing. So I was like, couldn't concentrate. I'm happy I finally can get married, but my heart is very sad because I know. I mean, what happened if the miracle hasn't come? Like, what happened if they still shoot him? They still execute him? Because even to that point, we still have faith. He still said that there's time. Even the 1 minute before the execution, God still can save me. He said that. Yeah. So don't worry. He said, just have faith, keep believing, have faith, keep on praying. So we go through the day. It's like we still have hope, like really have hope. But at that point, I couldn't concentrate really. Heart says different thing, my brain gives it. So it's hard, but I'm happy finally to get married. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. Yeah, I can see he's very happy. He's very happy. So yeah. Yeah. Is there anything? Yeah.
Just, I don't know if you don't mind sharing the moment you know he was shot, how you and the family take it.
At that time, we're not allowed to be near the island at all. So the consulate take us to one place, safe house. The whole family is there waiting. We couldn't sleep, so we stay up all night, all of us there. And we keep on praying for miracle. Like you said, bullet bounce back or whatever happens, we'll keep on praying, keep on hoping. And then, yeah.
Just to give a little bit of insight, on that particular night we were brought into another hotel. We'd been at our hotel, but they wanted to take us away from this hotel, so we were all put in a room. So we went up to this first floor, and we shared with Mayu's family and his cousins and uncles and that. And at 12 o'clock, I think the execution took place about 12:30, I think it was. 12 o'clock, we're having this incredible praise and worship time in the hotel room. And the song that we were singing was exactly the same song. It was just amazing, you know, and we only found that out later. It was just one of those times when we were literally, you know, in communication with the Spirit. Yeah. But it was obviously a very, very difficult time after that, when the news came through, and then waiting for the bodies to be brought off the island, and then literally we were in a little minibus for, how long was it, 12 hours? 12 hours from Cilacap to Jakarta. I think 1 or 2 stops, and then it was just, you know, back to Australia then.
Were both Andrew and Myron comforted the fact that, you know, the Prime Minister and the whole of the cabinet, you know, vigil, candlelight, you know, in front of the Parliament House and in Sydney and everything? Were they, in a way, did they know that this was happening, or were they enclosed?
Yeah. No, they did, and they were really encouraged by all of that. Yeah. But once again, you know, talk about blessing. You know, we left the prison at 2 o'clock that afternoon. At about 1:45, there was a group, as Phoebe was saying, the visiting area was one area, and then there was another area with the prison. Now, there were a group of Iranian prisoners that came up. They were on drug charges, and I think they had become Christians in recent weeks. They had Bibles, and they said, can you sign these Bibles for us? So they're handing it through the bars, and Andrew and Mayu signing it. The next thing we see that both of them, Mayu and Andrew, laying hands on these guys and praying for them. And Mayu actually said, gee, if I was around a bit longer, I think I'll be a pastor. So,
Would you ever consider publish some of the memoir that he wrote, or even the?
yeah, look, we're talking with Michael next week, and he's coming down to Melbourne. We'll have a planning session. There are a lot of people wanting to do that. Yeah.
After seeing what these two men had done in Provocan prison, has the Indonesian prison authorities, are they more supportive with like these sorts of program now, or are they still hesitant to support such a reformation program and that kind of thing?
Look, the Kerobokan prison has changed its dynamics since Andrew and Mayu left. There's no doubt about that. The programs are functioning, but the heart and soul of the prison, Anne was talking to one of the guys, Matt, the other day, and he's just said it's just not the same thing. And visitors going in, it's not the same. And of course, in the prison system, justice doesn't seem to be, either done or whatever. One of our friends, one of the junior Indonesian lawyers, used to joke to me, and he said, Britannia rules the waves, but Indonesia waves the rules. and so, and the prisons are exactly the same. When you see that it's in Kerobokan, it's easier to get drugs in Kerobokan prison than it is on the streets of Kuta, and it's pretty easy to get drugs on the. So that's the battle that the Indonesian government, if they're wanting to tidy up corruption and drugs and all the rest of it, in the prison system, well, they can't even do that. So, and that's going to take a long time to be able to break that. So they're like little micro economies. Everyone's making money from all of those things, and it's going to be very, very difficult to change that. And look, there are some, even in Nusa Kambangan, there were some great programs which weren't available to either Andrew or Mayu because they were in a special section, because they were literally on their execution row. But we saw some clothing places, batik places, that were selling all the materials that had been produced inside the prison. So there are things that are happening, but it's just it's pretty random.
It's very hard for Indonesian government to change or put a rehabilitation unless they have someone who understands the prison culture. Other than that, impossible. It's so bad. Like you can't imagine that. It's so bad. And for someone who stays in that place for 10 years and you don't touch drugs, it's just amazing. If you stay in prison for 1-2 years and you don't touch drugs, it's no problem because you only 1-2 years. So, but for someone who stays there and never touched drugs for the last 10 years, it's a miracle. Because only 2 types of people go to in prisons. When you're not using drugs, you go into the prisons because of different things. Either you came out from prisons, become a better man, or you become even worse because you get drugs inside the prisons. So I can tell you literally that addictions, it's not crime. Addiction is sickness. So you can't put people addicted inside the prison. They will getting worse, especially in Indonesian prison. In Western country, maybe because they have different type of prisons, really drugs is hard to get in, but not Indonesia. So when you're killing 65 people because of drug, it will never help. Definitely, it will never help. Because you don't understand the cultures in prison. This is the problem with our leader. They don't understand the cultures at the bottom. It will never help unless you use someone who understands the culture and help you. Then it will have, might change a little bit slowly. It takes many years to change everything.
These guys were very, very fortunate because 6 years ago they had a warden there, Suswanto, and he was a Christian. And he actually encouraged both Andrew and Mayu to get involved in programs, and he facilitated so much of that. and under his leadership, those programs flourished. So it was a season that it was just unbelievable the way that things were able to happen, and groups from around the world. For Mayu with his art, the Norwegian University, we used to send people across and work with the art groups. Church groups were able to go in and run healing rooms. We were part of the different conferences. Things were happening because this guy believed in Andrew and Mayu and said, look, and he encouraged them. And Matt and Ziggy with his silver and Matt with his English speaking. So he was fantastic. That was just a very, very short period of time when they were established, and once that happened, and once he left, the programs were up and going, and so there was a lot of momentum there that obviously take Mayu and Andrew out of the equation, and it all falls in a heap.
Actually, they wanted to start again in Nusa Kambangan. Like Mayu already pushed through to start a paint class. Like because I already bought his paint class for classes, and he wanted to start teaching again, to start build up the rehabilitation. And Andrew was asking if he's okay to start a cooking class and Indonesian class, English class, because Andrew is very good at cooking, and yeah, they both are working on it. Like in the world, and are very like, okay, still ask permissions because their cases, it's not the local prison anymore in charge. It has to go to the Attorney General. So yeah, actually they want to start it in Nusa Kambangan. They have all the equipment already. It's already set. So when they got approval, send in and start.
Phoebe, in your opinion, if Susilo Bambang is still in power, would there be a better chance of clemency, or in your opinion?
Actually, Alan and Anne tried during that time.
Yeah, look, we about 4 years ago, we were able to go into the presidential palace and speak to some of the advisors and that, and we got a lot of advice at that stage for both Indonesia and the Australian government. We brought that back to the Australian government, but because they just look at it, well, there are only two people, and of course there's huge debate really. Who supports these drug traffickers, and okay, they're rehabilitated, but are we going to be putting all our efforts behind it? Because in Indonesia there was no public support for that, and of course in Australia it was divided anyway. So politicians will only do what they can win votes on.
Yeah, but at the end, their case, and Mayu and Andrew, is not about their crime anymore. We all know, even the lawyer, they all know that it's not about 8 kilograms of heroin. It's not about that at all. It's about politics. So that's all. So even we try many things like provide evidence. What kind of evidence? Like crazy. If you know these people. I mean, if it's happened in Australia, maybe Western country, they will consider since day one when we show them the proof. But it doesn't happen in Indonesia because it's not about their crime anymore. It's not about it anymore. So that's what I say. It's even more painful to the family to find out about that. It's someone's life, someone's son, someone's brother. It's not about just a toy or animal that you could play around because of your power. Yeah, but yeah, God is in control of everything.
So I'd encourage you, if you haven't read the story of King Ahab and Queen Jezebel, and compare it to the two leaders, Megawati and Jakali, read it and just substitute their names there, you will get some insight as to what was behind what is happening and is happening.
Okay. One last question. Yeah. Anyone?
The video regarding that Andrew made for high school student,
Mm.
Is that going on, or is it?
That was an unauthorised video. Unfortunately, someone's got hold of that and really making a lot of money out of it, and not with his authorisation. And in fact, the person was very, very difficult with Andrew, and he had to distance himself from that. But of course, you can't control things once they're out.
Because I read somewhere that they're going to use it not even in Australia, but even in the UK to deter
It's one of the most bestseller selling story for school right now all over the world, but it's illegal.
Oh.
Like actually, it's not supposed to be selling because it's supposed to for. Andrew wrote that, gave it to that person. It's because for different reason, and we were quite surprised when he sell it and making money, and none of the money goes to the family or to us. None.
Is there any? I mean, can you do legal challenge with it? No.
It's really tiring.
Well, we've all been to Bali and got DVDs, haven't we?
Right. Thank you.